Did you know that osteoporosis can make even the simplest tasks a major challenge? Imagine for a moment trying to get up from a chair without feeling back pain or even the fear that something might break. Something as simple as climbing a flight of stairs becomes a struggle. This is the reality for millions of people who suffer from osteoporosis, a silent condition that weakens bones and often goes unnoticed until it is too late. In recent years, the number of cases of osteoporosis has increased at an alarming rate, especially among the elderly. It is estimated that 1 in 3 women over 50 and 1 in 5 men in the same age group suffer from this condition. The most dangerous thing is that in many cases, it does not show any obvious signs until the damage is too great. And when it does appear, it often compromises people's mobility, quality of life, and independence. Osteoporosis does not choose victims. It strikes those least expected, and can start so silently that the person does not realize that they are losing bone strength until a simple fall or movement becomes a major problem. For those who do not know how to recognize the signs, the disease advances without warning, and the impact can be devastating. If you think you're immune to it, or if you think osteoporosis isn't a problem that directly affects your life, think again. The truth is that people often only begin to realize the severity of the situation when they face the consequences of the disease, fractures, constant pain, and loss of mobility. And worst of all, osteoporosis is one of the most preventable and treatable diseases if detected early. That's why it's essential to know how to recognize the signs before it's too late. In this video, you will discover the 5 crucial signs of osteoporosis that can affect your mobility and, if ignored, can drastically compromise your quality of life. Watch until the end, because understanding these signs can be the difference between preserving your independence or losing control over your own life. Have you ever felt that pain in your back or neck that seems to have no explanation? A pain that comes and goes but always returns with more intensity. Many times, this pain is treated as simple muscular discomfort, but in reality, it can be one of the first signs of osteoporosis, a condition that weakens bones and makes them more susceptible to fractures. Osteoporosis can cause compression of the vertebrae, leading to the formation of small fractures that are often invisible to the naked eye. These fractures can be the trigger for back or neck pain, which is not only a physical symptom but also an indication that something much more serious is happening inside your body. What starts as a mild pain can turn into a constant and progressive limitation, affecting your posture and even your mobility. These pains, in addition to interfering with daily activities, can significantly affect your quality of life. Difficulty moving, bending over, or even performing simple tasks such as getting up from a chair can be a sign of a much more serious problem than you might think. People often ignore these early signs and end up living with the pain until it becomes unbearable, without realizing that this could be the beginning of a series of complications. Furthermore, chronic back pain can create a vicious cycle. As the pain increases, a person tends to move less, which further weakens the muscles and bones. This inactivity favors the progression of osteoporosis, making the person increasingly vulnerable to falls and fractures. If you are experiencing these pains, do not put off until tomorrow what can be treated today. Early detection and proper treatment can make all the difference. Therefore, if you are experiencing this type of pain, it is essential to seek medical advice. Ignoring these signs can be a fatal mistake for your mobility and consequently for your quality of life. Remember, osteoporosis is a silent disease, but its signs should not be ignored. Detecting it early can prevent it from irreversibly affecting your daily activities. Have you noticed that your posture has changed over the years? Maybe you're starting to slouch more, or you've noticed that you're getting shorter than you used to be. This can be one of the most obvious signs of osteoporosis, and it's one of the hardest conditions to ignore because it affects the way you look and move. A decrease in height and a stooped posture are often symptoms caused by compression of the vertebrae, which become more fragile due to osteoporosis. As the bones in your spine weaken, they can compress, causing a rounded back, also known as kyphosis. This type of spinal deformity can affect not only your posture, but also your balance and mobility. Having a rounded spine can make simple activities like walking seem like a struggle, and it can cause constant discomfort and pain. Many people, especially older people, begin to accept height loss and hunching over as a natural part of aging. But this is not true. Osteoporosis is the underlying cause of this process, and if left untreated, it can worsen, further limiting your ability to move. More dangerously, adopting a hunched posture can put more strain on your joints and muscles, which increases your risk of falls and other injuries. Losing height is also a clear sign that osteoporosis may be progressing. You may notice that your clothes no longer fit the same, or that your friends and family are commenting on the difference in your height. This is a sign that weakening bones are making your vertebrae more susceptible to fractures, which can cause further curvature and deformity. Now, imagine how this affects your mobility. A hunched posture not only makes you move more slowly, but it also impairs your ability to perform everyday activities. The pressure on your back, discomfort, and difficulty standing up straight make every movement more challenging. And the worst part is that you often don't even realize the progression of the disease until it has a major impact on your life. Identifying these signs early can prevent osteoporosis from further affecting your quality of life. Have you ever found yourself falling unexpectedly or breaking a bone while doing something as simple as turning over in bed or picking up an object from the floor? If so, you may be experiencing one of the most alarming signs of osteoporosis. Frequent fractures, especially those that occur for little or no apparent reason, are a clear indication that your bones are weakening. And this isn't just a temporary problem. The consequences can be devastating for your mobility and quality of life. When osteoporosis weakens bones, they become more fragile and prone to breaking, even during everyday activities. Something that once seemed completely safe, like taking a walk, lifting a light weight, or even a minor stumble, can result in a painful and often debilitating fracture. And the most dangerous thing is that, unlike more common fractures, those caused by osteoporosis often come not from serious falls but from minor strains, leaving the person defenseless against the worsening of the condition. The first fracture is always the most alarming, but osteoporosis has a tendency to continue weakening the bones, making fracture episodes more and more frequent. And each new fracture represents not only a risk of reduced mobility, but also an additional complication for the patient's overall health. Hip fractures, for example, can lead to long rehabilitation periods or even loss of independence, depending on the severity. Furthermore, the emotional impact of living in constant fear of a new fracture can be profoundly limiting. Anxiety and fear of falling or performing daily activities, no matter how simple, can lead to a cycle of inactivity. The irreversibly person begins to avoid movement, which leads to muscle and bone weakening, exacerbating osteoporosis and creating an even greater risk of fractures. A fracture is not only the physical breaking point, but also the beginning of a process that can worsen with each passing day without proper treatment and care. Frequent fractures, then, are not just a symptom, but an urgent warning that osteoporosis is at an advanced stage and needs to be treated effectively. If you are experiencing fractures more frequently than usual, it is essential to seek medical advice immediately. Ignoring these signs can leave you vulnerable to more serious damage and irreversible complications, affecting your ability to live an active and independent life. Have you ever felt like your body just isn't responding as it used to? Getting up from a chair, getting out of bed, or simply walking from one place to another can seem like a huge effort. If you feel stiff, tired, or have trouble getting up or walking, it could be more than just fatigue. These are signs that osteoporosis may be affecting your mobility in ways you didn't initially realize. When bones become fragile due to osteoporosis, they can not only cause pain but also affect the muscles and joints. Muscle stiffness and loss of flexibility in the joints can become a constant problem. What used to be an easy task, like getting out of bed in the morning or walking to the kitchen, becomes a challenge that takes more time and effort than it should. Osteoporosis, by weakening the bones, also compromises your ability to move, making even the simplest gestures extremely difficult. The lack of mobility caused by osteoporosis is also directly linked to the loss of muscle strength. When your bones are not strong enough to support your body weight, your muscles start working harder to compensate, which can result in muscle pain and fatigue. This fatigue is compounded when you start moving less for fear of pain or falling. And the lack of physical activity ends up making your muscles even weaker and less efficient. This cycle of inactivity only makes the situation worse, making each movement more difficult and painful. Furthermore, difficulty walking or standing has an impact far beyond physical mobility. It can impact your confidence and emotional well-being. You may begin to feel more dependent on others for tasks that were previously part of your daily routine. This can lead to isolation, frustration, and even depression, as the inability to move easily limits your ability to participate in social, family, and recreational activities. Ignoring the sign of osteoporosis can be a big mistake, as difficulty standing or walking can be an indication that damage to your bones and joints is accumulating. It is crucial to act quickly to prevent the problem from getting worse. Rehabilitation, muscle strengthening, and proper treatment of osteoporosis can help restore mobility and independence before the condition becomes irreversible. Have you been feeling constantly tired, even after a good night's sleep? That feeling, a fatigue that just won't go away even if you haven't made any major efforts during the day? If the answer is yes, you may be experiencing one of the most underrated signs of osteoporosis: unexplained fatigue. Osteoporosis can cause a feeling of chronic exhaustion that goes beyond simple physical exhaustion, directly affecting your mood and energy. The relationship between osteoporosis and fatigue is often linked to a lack of mobility and weakened bones. When the body is unable to move properly due to pain or bone fragility, the process of inactivity begins to affect the muscular and cardiovascular systems, generating a feeling of constant fatigue. The simple act of trying to move or perform daily tasks becomes a greater effort than normal, and this ends up draining your energy reserves. Additionally, osteoporosis can cause a feeling of constant discomfort due to fractures and pain in the joints and bones. This physical discomfort can lead to mental and emotional fatigue, making it even harder to find the motivation to carry out daily activities. The wear and tear caused by constant pain prevents the body from recovering properly, contributing to chronic fatigue. At the same time, a lack of adequate physical activity can further weaken the muscles, making each movement more exhausting. Fatigue and lack of energy are also compounded by poor sleep quality. Many people with osteoporosis have difficulty sleeping due to pain in their back, neck, or other affected joints. This disrupted sleep cycle and inadequate rest can result in a persistent feeling of exhaustion throughout the day. And when you're constantly tired, your daily activities, both physical and social, become even more difficult, making it even harder to combat the effects of osteoporosis. While fatigue can be attributed to aging or lifestyle changes, if you're experiencing unexplained, constant fatigue, it's a clear sign that something else may be going on with your body. Dismissing a lack of energy as normal can be a serious mistake, as it's often a sign of progressing osteoporosis. Seeing a doctor to investigate the causes of your fatigue can help you catch osteoporosis before it causes more serious damage to your mobility and quality of life.